to pull up the PFF.
Oh, yes, everybody. We are back again on another Game Day edition of Seahawks Uncovered. I am FlexMatt. He is Brandon Adam, and we are the Flex Network. You can find us at the Flex Network 1. We also can be found on the Undroppables podcast stream for this Seahawks Uncovered podcast. Brandon, I'm in a little bit of turbulence this morning. I wanted to wear my bucket hat, completely spaced, that the headphones don't go around the bucket hat very well. They don't, so I'm having to finagle with my bucket hat. But how you doing here this morning?
It's part of the deal, brother. It's part of the deal.
So how are you, buddy? Let's actually get into a little bit of some review from last week, and that's something that I wanted to say. You know, we had really thought that the Seahawks were going to come out and demolish the Patriots. We had a significantly coming out party, as you could say, for JSN and our entire offense. But we were not able to get over on the Patriots like we really wanted to. These kind of games happen in the NFL, right? We understand that. Some matchups just speak better against certain teams than other teams. But what do you think happened for us last week as we look to review before we look ahead?
I think that was a win that needed to happen for the future, for us to be a successful team pushing into the playoff kind of hunt. A close game, a grinder game, a physical game, a game that the Patriots played a lot better than I ever thought they were going to play. So I'm excited for them moving forward. Ramondre Stevenson is a grown ass man. That is a dude, and we had to really buckle our chin straps to really make sure we got him under control at the end of the game. But it was tough all game long.
Yeah, and to come up with a blocked field goal, these are the reasons why people are it seems like special teams is almost non-existent a little bit. People don't talk about it very much, but it is special teams that divides and breaks a game in one which way. You get a pick six, a punt return touchdown, any of this stuff like the blocked field goal. And they really came up for our team. The defense really carried. Or not carry, that's not a great term, but I wouldn't say carry, because Gino had an unbelievable game. JSN had an unreal game, a coming out party for JSN. So no, obviously our offense did significantly well, but the defense, when they needed to show up, seemed to find a way to show up. Like you mentioned, Ramondre Stevenson, he's a grown man. The guy's large, 240, I want to say, something like that coming out. 236, something like that coming out of college. And we really did like Ramondre coming out, because he did have the full capabilities of everything that you could want out of a 3-down feature back. Someone that we are watching that is probably not going to get that work right now. Braylon Allen is someone also we had talked about in the offseason, specifically you, about how he has the body to take a 3-down capable workload. But let me tell you what, Zach Charbonnet doesn't seem to be the guy. And it's really hard to watch Braylon Allen get drafted in the 4th round and know that you had spent a 2nd-round pick on Charbonnet. What do you think Charbonnet can give us this week as we look forward to the Miami Dolphins? And if you maybe could pull it up real quick while I give you a second to, unless you had it right now or not, but his rushing and receiving prop this week from Vegas has his implied total really high. I mean, Charbonnet, I want to say, is nearing the 100-yard mark for rushing and receiving, which I think is one of the highest props on the slate this week. Why do you think Charbonnet, after having a putrid game last week, has such an upside this week, Brandon?
I think it has to do with I think Vegas thinks that Seattle is going to control this game, and I think they are going to their home games and starting running backs for the home teams tend to do a little bit better. So that's why, especially with with Skylar Thompson being the quarterback, with Tua being out put on IR. We spoke a little bit about him last week, but with him being on IR, I think the thought process is that Vegas is thinking that we are going to be able to turn over the ball a little bit with Skylar Thompson. So we're going to have extra possessions in the red zone that we wouldn't have normally with a Tua, possibly. That could be something that they are thinking. But I mean, I think Charbonnet, I think they also saw that the line for Seattle's heating up a little bit in the run with the rush offense. They are able to move bodies, and to be honest, Miami is not a large team. They're on the defensive end. They're actually thin at defensive line this year. They lost Wilkins this year to the Raiders, Christian Wilkins, and now they don't have that rotation they used to have. And we stole Jerome Baker, a linebacker from them that they had last year. And Van Ginkel is in Detroit. So they lost a lot. So I think what Vegas is thinking is that they're going to struggle to tackle today. And that is why, I mean, Zach Charbonnet does have a big body. It's hard to deal with that large of a running back downhill. So, that's why I think Charbonnet has that. But yeah, that's interesting that they have the props so high up. But the running back that I'm really watching in this game is Devon A.
Okay, stop. Okay, stop. Of course, we all have Devon. Let's hope Devon A. Chain scores 100,000 points for our fantasy team, but the Dolphins lose the game. That's exactly what I'm going for. But let's talk about JSN. 16 targets. That is unreal. Unreal 16 targets. Let's talk about how this is everything that we had imagined when we drafted Jackson Smith-Njigba. I was a very big pioneer early on that we were going to get him at 20. I saw the writing on the wall. I saw the fit in our scheme, but then all of a sudden our offense it looked like a kindergartner was running our offense. What's up, boys? Yes, we are doing an early stream. Mo Maggot, Yallin. That's a name. I'll tell you, that is a name. We did the early stream today. Brandon has been able to hit some parlays and just wants to make sure that he has enough time to get all that done before game time. So we decided to go an hour earlier. We're not sure that we're going to stick in that. So just continue to keep following us, and we will. And you're here, man. So we appreciate you. Thank you for joining in. And anyway, back to JSN. So the idea behind JSN was that he is a slot guy. Slot guys need targets. They need to be fed. If you're not feeding your slot receivers, or if you're sending them on downfield routes 100% of the time, then you're not getting them involved the way that you should. And Jackson had a coming out party, mainly because we finally found a way to get him involved. Do you think that this can continue, Brandon, this way? 16 targets.
I don't think 16 targets. I'm hoping 10. That would be awesome. But so what I'm thinking is the reason why they are starting to lean on JSN is because we lost Ken, right? We lost that explosive ability through the run game. And what have we been saying about Zach Charbonnet? He's kind of just a guy. He's not really super explosive, but he's a compiler, a plotter, a guy that can catch the ball a little bit. But the explosiveness and out of the rush game is gone. So how do you kind of combat that? Is with short and intermediate route trees that JSN can rock those all day long out of the slot and make it easy on Geno to actually be able to convert those third downs, stay ahead of those chains, get JSN rolling this year. And I think as long as Ken Walker is out, I think JSN is going to have a much larger role within this offense until Ken comes back. But once Ken comes back, then they will kind of go back to feeding the rock to our most explosive player really on offense with the ball in his hands. I know we got DK, but K9 is different when he has the ball in his hands and he's able to get some room. So
Well,
that's one thing that was nice to see last week too, was DK. So that's
yeah, well,
very
let's
nice.
talk about DK. So,
Yeah.
I have the slot percentages. He only played 20% in the slot.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
But then he was wide about 78% of the time, in line 2%, obviously. So he is an X receiver, deserves to be an X receiver, getting utilized as an X receiver here. Now, do you think that it is because JSN had so much activity in the slot, which allowed DK Metcalf to kind of maybe have some off coverage or get caught up in coverage? Like, what do you think went on with DK other than, hey, 13 targets? Is it just that we need to feed DK to keep him healthy here? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, to
is
be
he
honest,
underfed?
I think he's underfed. I mean, all he does is eat candy. Like, I can't believe he can do what he does with his diet. But yeah, I mean, he, no matter what, needs 10 targets a game. Like, it doesn't matter the game script. It does not matter. DK should have 10 targets every single game in the Seattle, no matter what. But that's not going to happen. So what they're going to end up doing, I think they just like the fact that Christian Gonzalez was on him a little bit. And I think DK is one of those dudes that can beat almost anybody one-on-one. And if Geno sees it and sees the step that DK has and hits the throw, you're going to see those big, long touchdowns like we saw with DK this last week. This week, we're going to see him lined up with Jalen Ramsey, right? Jalen Ramsey and DK are going to be going at it all game long. And I'm curious to see if Jalen Ramsey is going to check out of this game. If they start losing in the first half, like if they start losing by 2 touchdowns, I'm really I want to see who actually shows up for Miami. And I think Jalen Ramsey is kind of like a front runner a little bit. And I think when it gets real hard, he actually checks out a little bit. He did that at the Rams. He did that with the Jags. I think today DK should score, and he's like plus 160 to score a touchdown today. And I really like him to score today.
I love this guy, Hansy Ramsey.
Hansy Ramsey. That's
That's
pretty
a
good.
great
I
call.
love
I'm
that.
actually leave that one up there for a little bit.
That's
According
good.
to PFF, again, I don't use it as the Bible, but it is just a great tool we have access to. But
Yeah.
DK right here against basically all defenders against Miami, it's a 66.8 rating here. Projected snaps is 35 snaps against the defense there. It is a middling matchup. So pretty interesting to put that Tyler Lockett and Jackson Smith and Jigba, though, against their 69.3 for Lockett, 73.8 for JSN, which probably ends up being top 15 matchup going into the
Jason
week.
should be good. He better get 6 catches today. Like he
Oh,
should get
better,
6.
yeah.
He better
6
get 6,
seems
7
nothing
catches.
now.
Like,
My
I
guy
mean,
hit
but we
12.
got to be real. Like, you got to be real with that target share he had last week. I mean, that's rare stuff. Unless you're like Malik Neighbors. But besides that, like getting that many targets we really need this game to shoot out for him to get that many targets again. But this, I mean, I'm excited for this week. Skylar, it's unfortunate that this isn't with Tua, because this game probably would have been flexed to like Sunday Night Football or something like that if Tua was in the game. But I'm curious, what is your thought process on how we're going to deal with Tyreek, Waddle, and another explosive pass catcher, Jonnu Smith? That's another guy that's sneaky that we've struggled against tight ends in our history. But Devon Achane, I mean, we all know that he's going to get the rock a ton, but I don't expect us to fully keep Devon in check because it's too easy to get him the football. But how about Tyreek? Do we double Tyreek? What are we doing? I'm
So
curious.
again, back to PFF, the number 1 rated corner in the league is Tariq Woolen. Okay. So what do we do to stifle Tyreek? Make sure he doesn't get downfield on us. And that's okay. Even if he does, if we got a guy there, we just can't trust Skylar Thompson to make the downfield throw. That's actually why it's kind of tough right now to trade Jalen Ramsey in fantasy football. But I think he ends up having a pretty good game. Maybe if not against us, coming out maybe the following week if they decide to stick with Skylar Thompson. Because like you said, Devon Achane, he's going to get the ball, and it's going to be in the intermediate to short route. But those dump offs, really great for fantasy football, not that great for regular football. And that's why I think that Waddle's going to be more involved. Now, oddly enough, Spoon, he hasn't looked as big of a playmaker as I had really intended. Sometimes I look at last year versus this year. So obviously last year we would have had Carter at pick 5 instead of Witherspoon, right? And then this year we would have, instead of Byron Murphy, was there somebody? I'm not saying a corner, but could it have been somebody else? And I just kind of look at that and I think, okay, well, Byron Murphy's a really good player, but Carter's a fucking like an actual disruptor. On nearly every play, you see him disrupting things in the inside. Now, I'd love to see Byron Murphy really start to be that way, but the only way that we essentially win on the pick of Witherspoon here is that he needs to start affecting this. Now, I think is Mike McDonald has a plan, and I think that he's trying to from what I hear, Witherspoon and him, they talk a lot. He knows. I think Witherspoon doesn't want to be in coverage as much as he is. Okay. Now his rush defensive grade is pretty great. It comes down to his pass grade. His pass coverage grade is only a 60. Okay. As opposed to a 78, 79 defensive rush grade. So obviously Spoon's mega benefit is getting him involved in the rush, but I would love to find him getting out there, getting us some interceptions, closing the gap, trusting his reads on some of these throws. And sorry, you got something to say?
I'm just wondering if I'm trying to see if we could find the numbers on how many times they blitzed Spoon this year. This is the comment I was meaning here. Force the third string QB to make a read in the middle of the field. That's exactly it. And it's going to be tough because you got to understand the scheme that Tyreek is in has him as the downfield guy. So if he's going to be out there running wind sprints because Skylar can't get him the ball, now these end arounds and stuff like that they did last week, that's going to not against us, Brandon. You keep it down with that. There we go stuff. But we were not able to tackle very well last week. And it's kind of a blanket that nobody wants to look under because there's a scary monster under there when you start talking about how we continue to not tackle very well last week, which is the definition of how our team was really looked at negatively last year. So that was alarming. That was really alarming. Now, could there be a lot of reasons behind that? Could we have been overran? I trust Mike McDonald to get us correct in that area. But man, if we're not going to be able to tackle Achane and Waddle across the middle, or even Jonnu Smith, who had a pretty good game last week, which tight ends just seem to be the bane of our existence. Dude, it's brutal. Every year we have issues with the tight ends. And Jonnu Smith, that dude is explosive, man. Like, it doesn't take a lot of room for him to run it for 40 yards. But yeah, dude, like, we're actually lucky that Devon Achane's only 165 pounds, 170 pounds soaking wet. If they were that, I think the teams that have like a Ramondre Stevenson type of running back archetype, like a Bijan Robinson, anybody that's like a 215-pound back, we are going to have issues with, because our linebacking core is undersized, and you're going to see us miss tackles man on man, but our scheme was meant to rally to the ball, rally to the point of, make that at first, even though you miss that first tackle, make that offensive player make a move, gives your mates some time to rally around you to finish off the tackle. That was one thing I was not seeing later in the second half, when Ramondre was really starting to really pound away on us, and that's why that is the stuff I'm nervous about.
Well,
But
I found not the blitz. I did not find the blitz one, but missed tackle percentage. Jerome Baker, wide linebacker, so essentially the second middle linebacker, outside linebacker. 33% of his tackles were missed.
Yeah, that's no good.
Julian Love, a quarter of his tackles, 1 in every 4. Boye Mafe, 1 in every 5. This is the tough one to say too. Jonathan Hankins, who is our run stuffing middle guy, now that one's a little tough, because he's just going to fall off a guy if he's, so he might have some opportunity, but he's getting doubled in the inside. So I'm okay there. But Tyrell Dodson, 16%. So both of our linebackers are missing tackles. I mean, and that's it.
And now, Baker's out. And Baker's out this week. So that's a missing link that we have this week. That is going to be I'm curious to see whoever fills in. I'm curious to see if those numbers are elevated by the replacement player with tackles. Let's see their missed tackle rate next week, and then we could really evaluate Jerome Baker next week after we get those numbers.
Well, it is going to be our rookie Tyrese Knight, most likely filling in for the majority of that, who didn't miss a single tackle last week.
That's what I'm saying.
Had a 70.3, which was top percentage of the rush defended snap. I don't have the pass ones right in front of me, but and a rookie, third rounder, guys that people thought we overdrafted. Tyrese Knight, here we are already needing to throw the young guy in, which is great to say that Mike McDonald understands the guys that he needs for his defense. And we have it, and we're drafting it. And I'm really excited for that. So yeah, you're right. So last thing that I wanted to say about offense before we move to defense is, and I think you could fact check this. I'm pretty confident about it, but Geno Smith had 44 pass attempts. Not a single one was off target.
That's pretty awesome.
That's amazing. It's unseen. It's unheard of. Okay. The guy is accurate. He's accurate. He's going to put the ball wherever his guy can go up and get it, go down and get it, away from body, away from defender. It's quite amazing what Geno Smith is realistically doing right now. He is the most underrated quarterback in the NFL, 4th overall this year in total rating, which is just purely incredible. And then the title of the podcast that we have here is Crossroads. Charles Cross, again, remains number 1 overall in there we go. That's correct. Geno didn't have one off target. It's incredible. And then, like I said, Charles Cross, nobody imagined this. So can you close your eyes for a second? Can you think about what it would be like to get Abe Lucas back and chugging along? And then now, as we move to the defense, what it would be like to get Nwosu back on the field. Somebody else that can create the Boye Mafe is all over the place. The dude is an absolute monster.
15 pressures on the quarterback. 15 pressures.
Christian Haynes got blown up on a play that would have been a DK bomb touchdown. Okay, I didn't personally see that, but good. Thank you for that. That's awesome. We need that type of information. Yep, Christian Haynes, rookie 3rd rounder, possibly showing why Anthony Bradford has gotten the start over him. Laken Tomlinson as well, an old wily veteran, but I do like Christian Haynes. These young guys in the blocks there. Charles Cross did not have a great year these last couple years, so it takes some time, takes some maneuvering. Go ahead, Brandon.
Bradford coming up. I really watched him a little bit after that first game because he had a horrific first half in that first game. And I wanted to see his evolution into this next game. And I think, to be honest with you about Bradford, is that if he has to anchor down and pass pro a lot, it's going to be a long season. But when you get this guy moving and get him moving and pulling and cleaning out defenders coming through, I think once we get to that power O offense, that's where he really shined. And that's where he shined when K9 was making those big long runs, was when he was pulling on those runs and K9 was going backside across him. So I really like Bradford. I think he's going to get better. He's a little undersized and a little bit slow-footed. But as soon as he gets going and has some direction, he's actually all right in the run game. But yeah, you're right. Abe Lucas is going to be a huge add. That's one thing that we all got to understand is we still aren't 100% with the health. We have stars that are out right now within our pass rush. So we're going to be even more deep heading into the next couple weeks. Hopefully Nwosu is back next week. He didn't go on IR, so 4 weeks, right? Like, we're hoping for less than 4 weeks. So that next week's the third week. Hopefully he practices next week and we can get him back. And that is a big add. And Mafe, 15 quarterback pressures is unbelievable. Leads the NFL.
Yeah, so comment here. When O-line knows how to set and move together as a unit, it'll look a lot better. Agreed there.
Oh, yeah.
The thing about I'm taking a look at these pass and run block grades. So Charles Cross had the top pass blocking grade, 79.3. But then the run blocking grade, he was the second worst offensive lineman we had last week. I guess this is not. Oh, it is just last week. So
our big
he
runs
had the second worst. Second worst. Yeah. So Christian Haynes actually had the best. He only had 15 opportunities, or 8 opportunities, it looked like. But Connor Williams, Laken Tomlinson, Anthony Bradford are 3 best run blockers, that's easy. I mean, I think that's exactly why Bradford's in there and getting the start is his rush. It's mainly for the rush. He's doing pretty good there, but in pass block, 67.1, a little bit lower, or actually technically it's a little bit higher, but lower in comparison. But nobody else, bro. Pass blocking, Connor Williams 37.8.
It's real bad, dude.
51.6. Stone Forsythe 52.4. So it's not looking too good. Christian Haynes 18.3. We just mentioned he got blown up for a
and that's why it's impressive. It's why it's impressive what Gino did, right? If Gino's doing and delivering the football with that kind of execution by our line, just wait. The NFL better pray we don't get in rhythm with the line, because if we do, we are a dangerous team, and we're only getting healthier. And listening to Mike McDonald during pressers this week, he was saying that it's funny watching the young guys make mistakes, because he wants these guys to make mistakes, because then he can actually give them direction and actually fix problems that these guys have with the scheme and trying to diagnose. And he wants them to make mistakes. He's like, just make them 100%, make them at 1,000% speed. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't care about that. And he's seeing week after week, his young guys are clicking and getting the schemes better and better and better. And dude, I really like where we're heading with this team. I
do too. So as we're kind of buttoning up the podcast here, thanks everybody for joining us this morning. Really appreciate you guys for continuing the ride with us here.
Get your Starbucks.
Talking about the Seahawks. But Jerome Baker was absolutely atrocious last week.
It was so bad.
A total defensive grade of 34.7, rush defense 63.5, the only highlight, but it's 42, 59, 29 in pass rush coverage 29, which is really important in our scheme, our linebacker coverage. But on the other side, Rayshawn Jenkins did phenomenally well for us, especially this entire year. I think I had it pulled up here that Rayshawn Jenkins for this. So we have the second and sixth best safety, first and 11th best corner, fourth best defensive interior lineman in Leonard Williams, which we'll get to him in a second. But it's tough to see how these games have been so close, because even though the Broncos game was not very close to the eye, that the score did become close there at the end. But man, what a nice feather in our cap heading to Detroit would be if we absolutely stifle Skylar Thompson and put him on skates out there.
Oh, he's gonna be under. If we don't have 4 or 5 sacks this game, I would be shocked. We better have that. I think Mafe finishes for 2. He'll get 2. He's going to get a sack fumble. That guy rips. He knows how to get to the arm, the passing arm, and get that ball out. I really, really, Julian Love is growing on me as one of my favorite players is like my favorite player, because man, he embodies just all out. That guy is all out all the time, and I just love the way that guy plays football. And what a block. He saved the game for us, man, and he won that game for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Julian Love is having an incredible year this year.
Yep.
I would say breakout. I would say breakout year. But I mean, we've known in Seattle how good he was, but now when you actually have a scheme that allows him to be a little bit more free in what he's doing, he's really showing you the athlete that he is. Okay, let's continue on. Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams is someone, when we gave him all the money that we did, I was thinking, wow, I love him. I do. I love Leonard Williams, but geez, $60 million for this guy. He's old. He's 30 something years old. I mean, I'm 30 something years old, so I get it. I get it. But I didn't know that he was. But man, has he really came out and played so well this year. And again, without him, I mean, now the thing is, we are missing Nwosu, right? So, other than him on the line right now, Jaron Reed, 39th overall. Byron Murphy, 49th overall. Draymond Jones, 55th overall, which actually is not that bad, because considering we're talking the entire league here, every team's got 4 guys on the line. So, and just 10 teams gets you over to 40, right? So the fact that Jaron Reed is top 40 of the league, top 10 teams in the league, stuff like that. Byron Murphy, as far as rookies, still doing great. He's influencing things in ways that is not worth every penny. There you go on Leonard Williams. Byron Murphy is influencing the game in ways that are so hard to see. Like, you really have to pay attention to what he's doing. Man, think about it. When those guys are there to put up a wall, right, for their quarterbacks, even one step backwards triggers these things in the quarterback's minds. I got to get a little to the left, little to the right. Now you're adding, oh, my guy's breaking in, or maybe it's a choice route, and you're like, as I got to get moved. So just moving the quarterback off of his spot in any defensive pressure from an interior lineman is going to have what we call success. Okay. So it doesn't matter if it's a sack. It doesn't matter if it's a tackle for loss or anything like that. Just getting the quarterback off his spot is a success in the defensive line. And that is something that today, while looking at the game, we should try to focus more with Byron Murphy. Instead of saying, oh, he's not getting his sacks, what is he doing for us? Let's just see if he's pushing Skylar Thompson off of his block. Brandon, what is the last thing you got to say here today before we end and get off to our lineup settings in fantasy football?
So Byron Murphy, I watched a cut up of his stuff. I almost literally 70% of his snaps, he's got 2 people on him. He's every It's actually insane that they are already game planning him out and scheming him out of being able to influence plays. So that's freeing up Mafe, that's freeing up Leonard, that's freeing up Reed. Like that's like when you draft a nose tackle in the first round, and if people are thinking he's going to end up putting up like 15 sacks a year, that's not going to happen. That's just not what those guys do. What they do is that they allow other guys to have one-on-one so they can beat their man and get to the quarterback. But Byron Murphy's a full-grown man. I love the draft pick still. I think he is the perfect fit for us. He'll end up finishing at some point here. Miami has a terrible offensive line, so this might be where we get those pressures into sacks, and we end up getting there at a much more better clip. So I'm excited. The Patriots offensive line was pretty decent. Like, they were actually okay. They were moving us a little bit. I'm curious. We should win this battle against Miami in the trenches, and I stand by that. I'm excited for this game, dude. Like, I'm just so bummed that it's not Tua time. Like, Tua's not there? Like, so, but it's gonna be a game where anything can happen. It's the NFL, and when you think you're gonna get a dub is when you get catch an L. So let's hope the boys kind of just stay consistent with their focus and get after it and just whip this team right now. Like, right away.
I'm gonna try to take a look real quick. Yeah, they're let me see. I'm looking at the Miami blocking. So tight end. So right, hey, their blocking grades are pretty good, actually. So Eichenberg and Brewer, center right guards. It looks like center right guard is going to likely be, and then Terran Armstead on the left tackle side there, all in the 70s. So
it's good.
Everybody
was saying
good.
How bad
the
they
swing
were.
tackle even had a 68 grade. So I don't know. We'll have to see how our defense gets out there. My last thought that I had here, Miami got that speed. I know, but we do too, right? We absolutely have speed on defense as well. So I'm actually pretty stoked about that matchup. Speed.
We match up well.
Yeah.
We match up real well.
Reek Woolen and Tyreek, they're two fast dudes. So I'm not too worried about that. It'd be interesting though, obviously, Achane and a Mafe or Achane and Knight. It's gonna happen. Our rookie is gonna get matched up with Achane. And he could
in
get
coverage.
Yeah, I know.
In coverage.
So it's going to be tough for us to really find out how that works. But my key to the game is Boye Mafe. So last week, I think he had at least 6 times he could have gotten a sack where it's just a hand on the guy. Took just this week could be the week, Brandon. It could be the week that we see him have a multiple sack game. I know he wants it, but thank you everybody for joining the Seahawks Uncovered podcast. We are the Flex Network. I'm FlexMatt. He is Brandon Adam. And before we leave, Brandon, score the game. What do you think's going to happen?
We're gonna get 10 points off of turnovers. So I think we're gonna win.
That's huge. That's
31 to 13.
13.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you say 13, I'll probably go somewhere. I could probably do that. So I'm thinking maybe maybe we go well, man, the games have snuck in closer by the end of it.
I know. Like, that's the only thing is, like, heading into that fourth quarter, we do give up some points. So it's like it could swell to like 20, but I really think 13 17 points is right there. Like,
there we go. 27.
There you go. Yeah, I think that's a really good call there. Yeah.
I'm thinking it's gonna stretch a little bit different than that. I'm thinking it's gonna probably as shitty. I could say that. I think as shitty as it may sound, they may have to score some points. So maybe 32-28. Okay, it's going to be close. We get the last touchdown. There's going to be a lot of offense, a lot of defense, just a lot of football being played. Also, check the weather. It was supposed to rain today. It is now switched over to just a cloudy 69-degree day. So be a beautiful day for football. Brandon, take us home. What do you got? Last thing.
This is just selfish, man. Just telling our boys, don't break Achan for me. Please just don't break him.
We don't care about Achan. This is the Seahawks Uncovered podcast, and we will see you guys later.